I raised my selfish sister's 3 children. After she abandoned them years ago, the children thanked me with money, but my sister is furious and demands it back. I am 48 years old, and my younger sister, Diana, is 46. We never got along in childhood. She was always too arrogant and sometimes mean to me, which is why our paths diverged right after finishing school. I went to college and she decided to move in with her then boyfriend. Fortunately, her boyfriend was well off because our parents wouldn't have been able to pay for her accommodation. However, Diana made it clear to our parents that she didn't care about their opinion of her life and would do whatever she wanted. Our parents didn't try to stop her and simply let her live as she pleased. At the age of 20, Diana had twin girls with her boyfriend, and at 21, she had a boy. Our parents were happy for her but also concerned because she had many responsibilities but no job. She was completely dependent on her boyfriend financially. Diana never married him, which in my opinion was a mistake because if they had been married, she could have counted on alimony after their breakup. They split up when Diana found out he was cheating on her. Fortunately, he paid alimony but refused his parental rights. At that time, the girls were 3 years old and my nephew was 2 years old. After that, my sister was left completely alone and needed any help she could get to provide for herself. We didn't have a good relationship, but because of our parents, I decided to help her. At that time, I had a decent income, but it wasn't enough to support all 4 of them, though I could contribute a small amount each month, helping her along with our parents. The first few months were extremely difficult for Diana. She had neither a diploma nor work experience, so she had to start from scratch and devote a lot of time to work to quickly achieve success. But it was difficult because she couldn't leave the children home alone, and hiring a nanny was too expensive. Therefore, she had to rely on me or her friends. Our parents also worked and helped her financially, so they couldn't babysit either. The same went for me. She didn't have friends willing to take on the responsibility of her children because they had their own affairs and work. No one agreed to such responsibility. Therefore, she was forced to work for minimum wage with a flexible schedule to return home sooner and avoid exorbitant nanny costs. This went on for a couple of years, and it seems Diana began to develop a dislike for her own children, believing they were hindering her success. In her opinion, they were the only reason for her failures. I sometimes visited Diana, but not for her sake, but for the children's. I wanted to make sure they were okay. Despite my bad relationship with my sister, I couldn't remain indifferent and let innocent children suffer because of her terrible decisions. My parents and I regularly checked on the children, and they constantly complained about how badly Diana treated them. She scolded them over trifles and took out her frustrations on them just because they behaved like children and tried to have fun. Their life was miserable. I wanted to take them out of the house and keep them with me, but I couldn't do that. She was their legal parent, and I had no rights to them. Besides, she received alimony from her ex and tried to make ends meet. I felt sorry for her, but I felt much more sorry for the children. The situation worsened when Diana started dating other men. Every time her relationships ended in failure, she blamed the children. She thought her boyfriends left her after finding out she had 3 children. In my opinion, this happened because she hid the fact that she had children on the first dates and only told them a month or 2 later. For a single mother, that's a very long time to hide such an important fact. I tried to explain to her that it was better to be honest from the start, but she was convinced that the reason for all her failures was the children. She terrorized them by constantly reminding them that their father had abandoned her and threatened to leave them if they behaved badly. They were afraid of her, and their childhood was filled with her selfishness. This went on for years. More than once, I wanted to take my nephews and run away, but I couldn't. I had no right to apply for custody or report her to the relevant authorities because although her behavior was bad, it didn't fit the definition of abuse that could be grounds for intervention. It was emotional neglect, but not serious enough for her to lose her parental rights. The children were grateful to me. My parents were too old to be friends to them, but I was always there. They couldn't turn to their mother with their problems, but they always came to me. Whether it was school issues, studies, or conflicts with Diana, they trusted me, and I valued that. When they turned 18, it was no surprise that they decided to leave their mother's house and move in with me. Now that they were adults, they could live wherever they wanted, and they chose me. Diana was furious, claiming she had spent 18 years raising them and they had turned their backs on her. She sneeringly said that if I wanted to raise her children so badly, I should have intervened earlier, not taken on the responsibility when the main work was already done. I really wanted to tell her that she hadn't raised them at all. In reality, they raised themselves while she was at work or on dates with men who eventually left her. She never put them first. The children chose the person who was always there for them. not the one who tormented them. She just didn't understand that she was causing them pain because she herself was suffering. But I didn't rub it in because I understood how painful it probably was for her. I kept quiet. After that, we stopped communicating. Her children broke off contact with her and started living with me. Diana stopped talking to everyone, including our parents, who didn't take her side when the children chose me. This seemed to anger her, and she also ceased all communication with them. 7 years have passed since then, and my nephews are doing well now. Honestly, I don't know what Diana is doing, but her children are doing great. My nephew went to medical school and is now a pediatrician. One of my nieces got a degree in literature and became a teacher, and her twin sister opened her own beauty salon. I helped all three of them take out business loans and even partially finance them. I am really proud of them because they have achieved so much despite the conditions they grew up in. Now they all live separately. They only lived with me for 4 years, and even then, it couldn't be called full-fledged living because they spent most of their time at college, coming home only occasionally. I think they just didn't want to return to a home where they didn't feel welcome. I'm talking about Diana's home. In any case, it's been 2 years since they moved out, and I am happy for them all. I never expected anything in return because, honestly, I helped them only because I thought it was the right thing to do. They were just children, and despite all the disagreements with my sister, I couldn't be indifferent to them. I always felt a special sympathy for them because I never had children of my own, and I never got married. But for their sake, I wanted to be a parental figure, because their father wasn't in their lives. And we all know what Diana was like. They needed someone, and my parents were too old for that role, so I took it on. That's all I did. I didn't expect anything in return, but it feels so good to know that these children think I deserve gratitude for everything I did, even though I don't think it's something I need to be rewarded for. I celebrated my 48th birthday. Of course, I invited my friends and family, including my nephew and nieces. I had a great time, and my nephew was so kind that he organized the whole event for me. Although I wanted to pay for everything myself, he said that now he had enough money to take on these expenses and thus express his gratitude to me. After the party, the three of them sat me down for a talk and told me that they had discussed everything among themselves. Now that they are financially stable, they want to show how grateful they are for everything I have done for them. They decided to give me money as a token of appreciation. I tried to explain to them that it was unnecessary because I am still working and can fully support myself, but they replied that it wasn't because of a desire to pay off a debt. They said they would never be able to compensate me for what I had done because it was something much more than just a material amount. The support I provided them and the belief in them is something that cannot be compensated, so this gesture was their little attempt to express gratitude. I was touched by their sincerity and decided to share it on my social media page. I just wanted to thank them for everything they had done for me. My sister and I hadn't spoken in the last few years, so I didn't think it would affect her in any way. She had blocked me on all social media, and I was sure she wouldn't even see the posts, so I thought it was safe. Honestly, Diana had never tried to contact us or find out how her children were doing after they left home. Yes, they were the ones who first broke off contact with her and moved in with me to be away from her, but it was essentially her fault. The least she could have done was show interest in their lives and try to be a mother to them to make up for her mistakes, but honestly, she didn't really care. 6 years passed, but I should have guessed that as soon as she found out her children were now financially successful, she would, like a bloodhound, start finding out how much money she could get from them. In her message, she wrote that she had seen my post and now wanted to talk about her children. She knew she had messed up and hadn't been a good mother, but now she felt she wanted to restore her relationship with them. She claimed she wanted to give herself another chance to be a mother because she had missed them a lot over the last 6 years. I don't know how truthful her words are because if she had really missed her children, she could have at least contacted me once. She asked me to talk to her children and try to mend their relationship because they have a good opinion of me. The timing of this request seemed extremely suspicious to me, and I decided to ignore the message because I was furious at her obvious intentions. When I didn't respond to her message, she called me in the evening, and that's when I couldn't take it anymore. She said she wanted me to talk to her children and help restore contact with them. I replied that I wouldn't do that because I understood her intentions perfectly. It was clear to me that she was not interested in the children's well-being, but in access to their money. She didn't care about their condition. She was pretending in order to gain access to their accounts. She had no desire to become a mother again. If she had really regretted her actions, she would have approached the children directly, not tried to act through me. She couldn't even overcome her pride and ego, still expecting the children to make the first move despite the fact that she had ruined everything. Her audacity was simply astonishing. She tried to argue and claim that she didn't need their money and was offended that I thought so, but I told her that I wasn't implying that. I was sure of it because her intentions were absolutely transparent. I was angry at what she was trying to do. Then she said that I had stolen everything from her. First her children, and now her money. To that, I replied that I didn't need the money, and at first, I was even in doubt about whether to accept it. But now I intend to take it all because she doesn't deserve it. And now she's complaining on social media, telling everyone what I said, trying to portray me as the villain. Some relatives think I've gone too far and look greedy, and that I should apologize to her. It's simply unbelievable. That's why I want to ask, was I really so terrible for telling my sister that she doesn't deserve the money her children decided to give me? Update 1. I discussed this incident with my nephews as you advised in the comments. They said they had already heard about it from several relatives and thought about talking to me, but they just didn't have time. However, after I called them and brought up the topic, they said they think I did the right thing. My nephew spoke very directly and said he never perceived Diana as a maternal figure in his life. It was always me because she was never around. The nieces agreed with him. He was always the most open of them, so it's no surprise that this came from him. My nephew said Diana has no right to talk to me because she never even minimally fulfilled her responsibilities, and that's true. Even when she received alimony from their father, she constantly ridiculed them and made them feel guilty just for existing. It wasn't their fault, and they understand that. Therefore, they think I did the right thing and said they won't try to contact their mother no matter what happens. In addition, they think I should stand up for myself and tell the whole version of the story on the internet since Diana has decided to spread lies about me. They are convinced that social media is the best way to convey the truth. I think that's exactly what I'll do. Update 2. A week has passed since Diana sent me that message. Today, I received numerous calls from relatives and people she has been in contact with. They told me I was wrong and all that sort of thing. This started to annoy me. I had work, which is why I couldn't write a response earlier. But today, I decided that I had had enough. After a short conversation with my nephews, I finally decided to publish a post in which I told my version of events, and, in a sense, their story as well, because I think no one in the family knew what these children had to go through in childhood. How much they had to endure daily ridicule just because Diana decided to get pregnant early and gave up everything for her then boyfriend. Even after that, she continued to blame others for her decisions and tried to make it seem like she was doing her best for her children. But in reality, she was never there for them. She told everyone that I had stolen her children and now even her money because her children are now financially successful. People deserve to know the truth, not just her distorted version of events in which she was the victim, not the person who caused everyone pain. Many have already condemned me because they only heard her side and sympathized with her. But in reality, I deserve to tell my truth along with her children. So, a couple of hours ago, I wrote it all down and published it. At the moment, Diana hasn't responded to me. The only messages I received were from relatives who condemned me earlier. Now they have suddenly changed their minds and are asking for my forgiveness for jumping to conclusions. Honestly, for me, this means nothing. I just wanted them to know the truth. I don't care what they think of me, but it was important for me to voice my truth and tell how Diana treated her children, which is why they no longer want to communicate with her. Now that everything is done, I'm ready to leave it in the past. Honestly, I don't want to have anything more to do with Diana. These 6 years when she wasn't in my life, I felt great, and I think the same can be said for her children. I don't understand why she needed to create drama. If she needed money, she could have just asked for it instead of pretending she really wanted to try again. Update 3. So, a day has passed since I published my post. Today, it seems Diana finally decided to respond. Instead of contacting me directly, she continued to create drama on social media and started commenting on my post, trying to make it seem like I was lying. But it didn't work. As soon as she started writing comments, her children immediately joined the conversation, reminding her of specific instances from their childhood when she behaved badly towards them. This went on for about an hour, and honestly, I felt no pity for her at all. We with my nephews even got some pleasure from it. They totally humiliated Diana, and she simply had no chance to wriggle out because every lie she tried to use to portray me as the bad guy was immediately exposed. In general, this went on for about an hour, and then Diana started deleting her comments to prevent people from catching her in a lie. But it was too late. Many had already seen what was happening in the comments. As far as I understand, other people also began to condemn her. She started deleting comments and retracting her words, and then finally blocked me, and also her own children. I think this was her way of capitulating, and I'm glad she did because in this dispute, she had no chance of winning. We have a clear advantage here. I thought the deletion of comments would be the end of the story, but after that, she still decided to contact me personally. She sent me a message saying she hoped I was happy now because I had portrayed her as the villain, and now everyone hated her. It seemed quite ironic to me, because that's exactly what she was trying to achieve by telling lies about me. She started this story, and now that I returned the same to her, she can't bear it. I don't understand why people start drama if they're not ready to deal with the consequences. You just shouldn't start if you don't want to find yourself at the epicenter of the dispute. In any case, I ignored her message, and we all decided to simply ignore her for the rest of our lives. She is no longer worthy of our attention, and that's it. So be sure to write in the comments what you think about this whole story. And now, my opinion on this story. In general, I think the author gave a very sensational headline to her story, like she somehow raised these 3 children. When I first read that she didn't raise them until they were 18, but only after that began to raise them, I didn't understand something. I mean, what's the point of the story? How is she the real mom if, by her own admission, the main work was done before she stepped in? I think the first few years are the hardest. At least after 18, a person is completely independent. Some say that after 8 years, a person is already quite independent and causes much less trouble. These aren't my words. I asked my parents because I have a child myself, so I understand how much nerves he burns up, how much attention he requires. And to talk about how she raised them, not her real mother, no matter how bad she was, is very strange. Honestly, yes, the mother was terrible and all that, but still, she's the mom and she raised them. The author kind of justifies herself. I couldn't take them. How? By law? Well, I think the mother would have gladly given them away. Her slippers have been on fire. I understand she was probably just a weekend aunt, all positive. The kids told her their secrets. Well, of course, what pretty aunt doesn't tell her secrets? Of course, why tell the mother? In general, to some extent, the author is good, but to some extent, I just don't understand how she appropriates all the credit. The children too, as if they are still young and haven't fully understood everything yet, so they kind of deify their aunt. Maybe they'll never understand. Who knows? But perhaps when they have their own children, something will start to dawn on them. I think so. I understand that now, probably a lot of people will come at me with extreme disagreement, but okay, write in the comments, let's discuss it. So, thanks for watching this video to the end. Watch our previous video that you'll see somewhere here, and good luck to you.